I'm gonna show you the single best exercise for you to get strong as abs, and we're gonna start right now. Okay, so when we're talking about the abs, first we have to go over what are our actual abs. And fortunately, we have a two-time world team member, Jake Horst, here to demonstrate what those ab muscles are, actually to show what those ab muscles are. He's fairly lean, maybe he could be a little bit leaner, but I've been yelling at him to gain weight because he doesn't fill out his full weight class currently, so I want him to gain some more weight, so that's why he doesn't have as many abs. So, first, let's go over the rectus abdominis, okay? So look at the abs as this sheath, okay? If you're looking down, there's just this layer, right? There's this sheath. And the rectus abdominis is basically gonna be two layers right here. These are those six-pack abs that everybody wants, that everybody works towards. And what they're gonna be responsible for is going to be lumbar flexion. So if we see lumbar flexion, that's typically going to be from that rectus abdominis. It's also gonna play a major role in how we hold our rib cage, how we're breathing, and even if we're using the Valsalva maneuver when we're lifting weights, filling that up, raising that rib cage up so that we have very, very good posture. And I think that that's the first key aspect here is that when we're looking at the abs, all of the abs are gonna play a major role in our posture and our breathing ability and how we hold ourselves. The next two ab muscles that we're gonna be looking at are gonna be the exterior and the internal obliques, okay? So when we're talking about these specific muscles, okay, we're gonna have fibers running this way and then fibers running this way. And so these muscles really control rotation, active rotation. Think about shot putters, think about baseball pitchers, and controlling and decelerating and making sure that we're not actually falling all over the place, holding that posture, pulling that chest down as well. So these abs, okay, the obliques, are really responsible for a lot of dynamic movements and providing stability, okay? Trunk control is a major factor with the rectus abs and with the obliques and through this area. And so if you're a thrower or if you're anybody who's had pain in one of these areas here, it's typically the internal oblique actually more so than the external, where you're gonna feel a little bit of pain because they're taking on such a high degree of energy, a high degree of force when you're stopping rapidly. Taman Johnson's here to show off his abs. These are called shot putter abs, right? So these are your external obliques and your internal obliques. Key for throwing 2150 if you're a shot putter. Hey, good job, Taman. Okay,
it's like hitting a water bag.
So the next abs that we're gonna get into. So the next abs that we're gonna get into, and actually, Taman, you should stay here to take notes on this, is going to be the serratus anterior, okay? So it's gonna be all in this area. And this is gonna actually be the antagonist for the rhomboid, okay? This is like that boxer muscle, okay? So somebody like a shot putter that throws a massive punch here, if we're finishing on the throw, that serratus plays a major role in our ability to protract that scapula. So that produces a ton of force going forward, and then it has to stabilize and decelerate on that finish. So the serratus anterior plays a massive role in that stability, and it is actually an ab muscle along with some intercostals inside of our rib cages here. Those are all of our key ab muscles that we're gonna work towards as we're giving you that #1 key exercise for ab strength. Now, we mentioned the multiple different muscular areas, okay, of the abs. We talked about the rectus abdominis, the obliques, the intercostals, the serratus. All of these play a major role in training our abs, but it becomes very hard to isolate just our abs when we're training them because our abs cross over multiple different areas that link to other joints. But how can we actually directly train that? So the first exercise that I do actually really like to use, and this is not the single best exercise, we're not getting there yet, this would be an ab wheel, okay? So this is a great movement, but it's not the absolute best movement. And what we'd wanna see here is just a lengthening in that shoulder. We're gonna lengthen our lats, and while we're lengthening our lats, we're gonna have that hip extension start to occur here, go out, and then come back in. This is a great movement, but not the single best movement for our abs, okay? And then the next thing that we're gonna focus on, how can we train actually inside of our serratus? So this is gonna be a really challenging exercise. If we would get into a side plank here, okay? I'd move this out, come back in, move this out, come back in. And I'm still using a little bit of my lats. And then as I get stronger, I can start to raise this up, okay? I might hold a little bit differently. and come up. And you will be sore from doing this side plank serratus raise, okay? Or serratus curl as it could be called. And then finally, one of the best ways to train in a very, very dynamic motion, to train your rectus abdominis and your obliques, to control, to have that dynamic trunk control, is to actually do what we call a walrus. This is great for baseball. This is great for athletes across all walks of the world. It's great for fitness in general, and it's fun. Okay, so you're here, we want a plank position, we can walk forward. Okay, now, I would recommend if you're a swimmer, you actually put your toe like this to help with that ankle mobility. So you'd be more like this, okay? And I'm still walking forward. But these are all great movements, but they're still not the best movement to train your abs. So what are we looking for? First, posture. Stop sitting like this, stop mouth breathing, okay? We wanna sit upright, we wanna have that sternum coming out, and we wanna breathe ideally through our nose. That's gonna help our ab strength and our trunk stability, our trunk control. Yes, we want to train trunk control. This is not a gimmick, contrary to what you guys said on top of Nick Singleton's YouTube short where you said that it's a gimmick. It's not a gimmick. We want to actually be addressing this in various positions. If we're in a unilateral position, that's gonna force that stability. That's gonna force that ab training, that trunk core training. So we want a position that is disadvantaged, okay? That's a big factor here. And then we want something that's gonna carry over to sports. That's a big factor as well. And then we also want something that we can load a lot of weight on. If we load a lot of weight on, that's gonna train our trunk. And that's gonna lead to that big exercise. Okay, so when we're training the best ab exercise, there's a lot of different factors that we wanna talk about. And again, Jake's back here with his shirt on. And we wanna see first, if we're lifting, we're gonna use the Valsalva maneuver. So we don't wanna be sitting here like this, being mouth breathers, okay? We wanna be, and hold that posture nice and tight. So we wanna have a good breath, okay? Fill up that rib cage, fill up that belly button to be stable. Then we want an exercise that's gonna force us to coordinate really well so we can be put into a position that's sort of precarious, okay? And that's gonna force a higher degree of coordination. Then we have to go into how can we prevent lumbar flexion, okay? So if we put the bar on our front versus our back, that's gonna have a degree of difficulty when we're talking about training our abs specifically. That next key factor that I like to look for is, can this transfer over to the realm of sports performance? Typically, if we go unilateral versus bilateral, unilateral exercises are gonna transfer a little bit better. They're also gonna force that higher degree of coordination. And then finally, I want something where we're gonna see a lot of hip extension and hip flexion to improve mobility and help force that trunk control. And so that key exercise, that number one exercise that can be loaded, it can be targeted, it can be structured to improve your overall ab functionality is going to be a single leg front squat. So Jake, get this set. This is the exact movement, the exact stand that we all use here at Garage Strength. Move that front foot forward just a hair. There you go. Elbows up a little more. So we're here, we wanna go nice and slow, controlled, back knee down to the pad, up, good. And keep that posture, keep that trunk, that upright back, drive up. And so he's gonna be squeezing through his abs to force himself to stay as upright as possible, okay? Jake's knees are probably fatigued right now from last night's training session. Give me 2 more and then we'll switch legs. Good, 1 more. And this is also gonna be targeting his posterior chain. And because he's in a unilateral position, now his body's a little bit more aware. It's forced to coordinate at a higher degree. It's forced to coordinate him to prevent him from rotating from side to side because of the load. And over a couple different sets, we might do 3, 4 sets of 4 on each leg. And then we might do 2 sets of 9 on each leg going a little bit quicker when there's a little bit more speed. Give me like 2 or 3 unbroken here. 1, 2, 3, good, okay, you can rack it. So when we're using this movement, we've got to focus on proper control, proper posture. If we have this loaded, and Jake's done this specific exercise with 130 kilos, that's 286 pounds, okay? Maybe you did that, did you do 150? Okay, so he did actually do it with 150, which is 330 pounds. So when he's doing that movement with a large amount of weight, he can't rotate from side to side or rotate this way. He has to be as stable as possible. That trunk control is gonna transfer into his hip extension as well, and that's where we're gonna see that transfer into the sporting world. but also into general fitness. If you're someone who just wants to do this for your overall health, you can do this with just a bar, with just a dumbbell, and that's gonna help strengthen your lower back as well because of that movement pattern that we're working through with the garage strength single leg stand. Oh, and by the way, this single leg squat stand and this pad are available at garagestrength.com. Chalk on the pad is not included. So core training, or trunk training as we refer to it, is absolutely essential if you want to train for sports performance or if you just want to get more fit. We need to target our trunk in a way that's going to stimulate a large amount of adaptation while still being relatively safe, and that's exactly what we found inside of this single leg front squat. This will blow up your core strength like nothing else. Trust me. Go to the gym today and just try this. You can try it with a dumbbell to start. Use that goblet position and then build into that front squat with a barbell. Again, make sure you try it. It's freaking free. Just like our brand new app for 7 days, Peak Strength. If you head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store, or the Apple Store, you can pick that up today and you can put in your goals and your specific date of when you want to hit that peak. And those first 7 days are free. We've got over 35 different sports that we can help you train for and hold you accountable. Again, head over to peakstrength.app. And if you want to develop our brain gains, make sure you check out our podcast, the Masters of Sport podcast, because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.